example of launching campaigns, right? So we launch a CBO campaign, right? This is how you're going to test and launch your first campaign with this strategy. CBO campaign, we're going to run 5 ad sets. We're going to use the same images. You can use 3 to 10 images. For this example, we'll use 5. We're going to use those 5 images across the same ad sets, but the only thing that changes is the long form copy. Okay, so this is super important because the long form copy is actually what does all the selling. And again, you might not think that no one's going to read this and it's way too long. And yeah, sometimes there might be some comments on your Facebook ads that say that, but believe it or not, this is one of the most inconspicuous ways to sell people and do it ethically and do it without little to no competition on Facebook, right? So it's very powerful, and if done correctly, you can make a lot of money doing this, right? So once again, let me show you guys an update, or sorry, an example. So one CBO campaign here, okay, 5 angles speaking to different people, and each of these angles have the same images. The only thing that's different is the long form copy. So as you can see here under angle 5, this long form copy talks about how my friend asked me to explain a verse I posted on Facebook that morning. On angle 4, this one's my pastor pulled me aside. Angle 3, I discovered why 89% of Christians can't apply what they read in scripture. Angle 2, my small group went silent when I confessed I haven't felt God's presence in 3 years. I threw away $200 worth of devotionals, right? So again, these are the same image, right? So image 1 is the same under angle 1 is the same image as image 1 here under angle 2. So if we go to angle 3 and we click on image, you can see it's the same. Now, the only difference though, the image is the same, but the long form copy is different, but the headline is also the same as well. So if I click on any one of these ads here, you'll see that read this if you want to be closer to God. And remember, the example that I'm using here is this Christian devotional 52-week journal for women trying to get closer to God. So this is the product here for the mock-up store, and everything is the same, right? The images are the same images across each ad set. The headline is the same. The only thing that's different is the long form copy, and this is about 1,200 to 1,300 words. You can actually see it here. This is really long text, and again, it's supposed to be disguised as a native Facebook feed post, so it's going to have a lot of copy, but it's speaking from the angle and the perspective of a person, again, in this case a woman, that is just wanting to share a really personal story on her Facebook feed. Another note here too, before we get into actually how to generate this, is that for Facebook pages, I like to create a Facebook page that replicates a realistic looking person. So I'll generate an image using Higgsfield, and I'll just title my page whatever. And the goal here is to look like a middle-aged or older woman in this case. So that way, again, your Facebook feed post looks like it's done from a person and not a advertiser. Right, so that's important there. So now let's actually talk about how to generate the long form copy and how to set this all up in real time. All you're going to need is the scripts that I'm going to leave down below in this training. Right, it's going to break down step by step how to do this. You're going to need Claude AI, which is a better version of ChatGPT when it comes for copywriting and creating creative work. And that's it. And also, you're going to need to have a competitor or a Amazon listing of your product. So because in the previous training we generated hair loss or hair growth stuff on Higgsfield, I'm going to continue the trend here and find a product that kind of aligns with that. Obviously, this is backwards thinking. You would have already found the product first, then you would have created the copy, then you would have created the images. But nevertheless, we're going to go here, and we're going to use this product for the sake of this example. So the first thing we're going to need to do is give the AI as much information about our product as possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab this long prompt here, and it stops right here before the red text. We're going to copy this and go to Claude and paste that in. And it says, hey, I'm a brand owner creating an advertorial, long form copy, and I need you to, first off, we have to replace the product name. So again, I'm just going to use this as an example. So this is a scalp massager, hair growth oil applicator. So we're just going to call this a red light scalp massager. Yeah, a scalp brush, electric scalp brush, a red light electric scalp brush. The reason why I'm throwing red light in there actually doesn't really matter. So we're just gonna call it what it's called, a scalp electric scalp brush that dispenses oil. I'm going to provide information about my product that I need you to use to create a winning advertorial and ad copy. We're not going to do an advertorial initially in the first testing campaign. We're only going to be launching images with long form copy to the product page. But because we want to train the AI with as much information, we're saying we're going to do both, but we're going to start with just the first campaign. We'll go straight to a product page. So first things first, we need to grab the Amazon listing. So we'll grab the one with the most reviews that has the most similarities to the product that we would be dropshipping. If you can't find your product on Amazon, that's fine. You just go to Google and try to type in your product and find a competitor's listing on just regular Google. So if I were to go to Google and type in red light therapy scalp brush or something like that, scroll through and then go and see if you can find somebody that's selling this. Okay, nope. And if you can't find one, that means you have a really interesting product. But yeah, this is gonna be an Amazon. Let's see if they have one. They have one right here actually. Let's see. Boom. Okay, so then you would just find one that is similar to the one you would have as a competitor may have on their website. So that's what you would do if you can't find an Amazon listing, but you should be able to find an Amazon listing. So we're going to remove this, delete this, and paste in that. And then under here it says reviews as well. So we need to also download the reviews. And again, if you can't find the Amazon listing of this, and you can't unfortunately do this, and that's fine, just skip this. So I use a tool called Amazon Reviews Exporter, and then I make sure to download 100 of the most helpful reviews. So this product here should have that. They have a total of 295 reviews, so we should be able to get about 100 of them, which is good. They're going to be people raving and talking about the product, sharing their things that they like, dislike. That's going to help us create good copy and messaging. So then we're going to get a file, go over to Claude, throw it in here. Last thing we need to do is competitor's website. Now, at this point, if you already added in your competitor's website, then you no longer need to do anything else. But for those of you that obviously are following along and following the instructions, you would need to do Amazon listing, export of the reviews, and then a competitor. And then hit enter. So now the Claude AI tool is going to give you as much information as possible. It's also going to give you a brief, detailed report about the target audience. It's important that you read this because, once again, Claude is going to do deep dive and scrape the internet to help you come up with a conclusion of your target audience. What we're trying to do here is find the 5 most likely people to purchase this product from us. We need to know those people, know their talking points and pain points that they're going through, so we can create copy that speaks to them. So as you can see here, it's going to scrape, and Claude is going to go through and start doing some stuff. You can see some key insights it's pulling, and this could take anywhere from 30 seconds to 2 minutes. Just be patient, let it do its thing. And then while we let this go down, let me explain to you next steps. So from here, this next part, you literally just copy and paste. You don't have to do anything. But we're trying to get 5 of the most unique sub-niches of people that might benefit from this, that definitely will benefit from this product. And we're also asking the AI to search Reddit forums, articles to validate this theory. This is important because we can think of people that might want this product, but we need to validate this by hearing people tell us from Reddit forums, from articles, peer-reviewed articles, scientific reports, just regular Google searching. So it's important that we not only just guess and make decisions off of our assumptions, but actually have data to prove that. And AI makes it super easy for you to get data quickly. So what we'll do is we'll grab this, hit copy, and then we'll be able to go ahead and get all this bad boy going here. So this is really cool because it's pulling a lot of data. It takes a little bit of time, but this is going to help us ensure that we get what we need to get. So now it's starting to generate information about our target audience. So right away, this is important to understand. The image ad strategy that we do is best equipped for people around the ages of 35 and up. So it's good to see here that the target demographic of people that we're looking for is right around 30 to 55-year-old as the main primary demographic. If you generate this and it says your demographic is 20 to 35-year-olds, that is a problem. That means the product you have is going to be hard to sell using the ad strategy that we teach and do here. So that's important that you make sure your demographic is old enough. Middle to upper class is always good to know because they are disposable income. So this is a good thing to kind of go through, read up some of the key points and understand what the different angles can be. And then from there, we're going to paste that second prompt in. And now we're going to say, hey, consolidate all this information and give me 5 of our most ideal customers most likely to purchase from us. So not only is it going to consolidate this, it's going to scrape the web, like I mentioned, Reddit forums, online communities, and really identify most passionate and potential customers. This is important because passion and pain are the 2 driving factors for purchases. So if we know that there's people that have a big problem and they have a deep passion to solve that problem and they have money and they're older, it's going to make it super easy for us to sell to them. Okay, so we have our 5 sub-niches. So we have the minoxidil warriors, right? So quickly read up on this. Women that are using topical minoxidil. Postpartum shedders, women 3 to 12 months postpartum, right? So that's good. The protective styling prisoners, the menopause hair mourners, and then the stress executive shedders. So yes, it has these funky little titles, but it's really good to know that we have a detailed report, what their main fare is, main mechanism, and marketing angle that we can use to speak to them. So now half the work is done. Next half is realistically just generating really good copy. So back to the scripts here. Now, instead of just generating this long form piece of copy through one prompt, before we get into the rest of the copy, it's so important that we focus on this headline here, right? This headline matters a lot because, as you can see here, Facebook will preview a small portion of the long form copy. And believe it or not, when you guys are struggling with your ads and you're launching them and testing them, sometimes it's the pictures, but in most cases, it's actually this opening sentence here. The goal here for this opening sentence is designed to get a person to be interested, intrigued, and want to read more. Right, so if we read this, my pastor pulled me aside after I failed my 5th Bible plan reading plan and said, stop trying to read the Bible like a novel. Right, so that's one good, interesting hook. Another one here, I discovered why 89% of Christians can't apply what they read in Scripture and has nothing to do with a lack of faith or ... See more. Right, so this is called an open loop or a contrarian open loop, where we're saying, hey, most people are struggling to lose weight, and it has nothing to do with going to the gym, it has nothing to do with supplements, and it doesn't even have to do with what you're eating. It's something that most people overlook. Right, it's the whole goal here is to get people to be infatuated with the message and hook them in, right? And the terminology that I just used is a contrarian open loop, which is designed to basically contradict what most people initial thoughts are. Right? A person who holds a different or opposing view from the majority of opinion, right? So that's what a contrarian is, and we're gonna use a loop, which is like saying, hey, there's this reason for this thing, but to know that reason, you have to read the rest of this article, basically. So because that's so important, we have to actually separate this into 2 steps. First, we got to focus on the hook itself. So I'm gonna grab this long form copy after I've generated my 5 angles. I'm going to paste this in, and the only thing I need to do is swap out the angle. So we're going to go and scroll up here. And we're going to go to the first angle, and the first angle is the minoxidil warriors. So we're going to copy that. I'm going to paste that into angle and hit enter. And it's going to prompt us with some hooks here. We want to use a little bit of our brain power here and kind of read through these hooks and figure out which one does the best job of piquing someone's interest and getting them to stop the scroll. Remember, a hook is just like a video hook. It shouldn't be any different. The goal is to get someone to stop the scroll. Okay, so my husband found my secret stash of 47 stained pillowcases in the basement. When I explained why I'd been hiding them for 8 months, he showed me something on my phone that made me realize I've been using Rogaine completely wrong. So that's interesting. Some things for a good opening hook, by the way, guys. We want the message to highlight something, the main point and problem that the person that we're trying to advertise to has. So if we're talking about weight loss, it should say somewhere in the headlines about like, I was trying to, I was struggling with losing weight for so long until I realized blah 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 blah. Right? It should the opening hook should be able to call out a target audience without necessarily calling them out. It should say, "Attention, fat people. If this is you, you know, like it shouldn't be like that, but you should have some acknowledgement." So in this case, we're talking about hair loss and specifically the angle of minoxidil. So guess what should be in that opening line? Something related to minoxidil. My dermatologist went pale when she saw my minoxidil application video. Okay, you're literally paying. Okay, cool. So boom, boom, boom. Quickly go through this. My hairstylist did something weird. She put a tissue on my scalp after I applied Rogaine. When it came back sucking after 10 minutes, she said, "No wonder it's not working," and showed me what the real problem was. Boom. So I like this because it talks about the product here. Rogaine and minoxidil, basically the same thing. And then it says it leaves off with an open loop, right? So now I got to close this loop. What is it? What is the problem? So this sounds good to me. So what we'll do now is scroll down here. We'll copy this long form message here. We'll paste it in. And this is going to create our first long form copy that we'll use in our angle. So the product name is, it should be the same product name here. I forgot what I call this thing. Electric scalp brush that dispenses oil. That's whatever. Okay. Boom, paste that here. The hook is the one we just selected, which I already forgot which one that was. I believe it was in that. This one here. Copy that. We're gonna replace the hook that we just selected with the hook there. And then the detailed angle is just the one we just prompted, which is the Minoxidil Warriors, I believe. Yep. So we'll just grab that again, and then we'll put that in for detailed angle. Boom. So you're gonna replace the name of the product, replace the hook, and then the angle. Hit enter, and now it's going to generate long form piece of copy for you. Okay, so at this point, I believe I'm putting this training before the image ads or after the image ads. I can't remember where I'm going to put this, but basically, once you develop this, you should now have some images that will go along with this. I'm going to show you how to launch this in the campaign in just a moment, but this is the long form copy. Okay, I would recommend you read through this and make sure that you can glimpse through it. AI is great, but it's not perfect, so there might be some issues, like it might not actually talk about your product or whatnot. So just go through. The biggest thing to focus on is the moment where it introduces your product. So this person is gonna, they're gonna talk as if they're from the perspective of a person sharing a real life story, and then we're gonna scroll through about halfway through this, and we're trying to find where they introduced the product. So that's why it's also important to make sure whenever you put the product name in, you make sure it's the right product name. So remember, watch me demonstrate my Rogaine routine. Boom, boom, boom. So here it is, right? So my client. So here we go. Maria disappeared in her supply room and came back with something I've never seen before. It looked like a hairbrush had a baby with a massage tool. My client brought this from Korea. She swears it saved her hair. I was skeptical until she showed me her before photos. It was an electric scalp massager with these tiny metal balls that dispense. See, like, make sure this is what your product actually does. That dispense liquid while massaging. The women's results were, I actually thought they were fake at first. Yep. And then the vibration opens the follicles. Cool. And at the end, there's not going to be a direct call to action to purchase the product down below. There's no call to action. Say, hey, click the link down below to get yours today. No, right? The messaging and everything will do its own, and people will be piqued by their interest, and they'll click shop now, and they'll go to the product page on their own. You don't need to put the link of your website. Now, what I do sometimes is I'll tell it, hey, use my brand name. So if I name my brand like EV Light or whatever, I'll say, hey, yeah, she came back from Korea and she found this product. It's an electric brush. She said it's from this brand called EV Light. Never heard of it, but apparently they make really good quality products. All right, sometimes I'll do that, but very rarely. So really go through this, and yeah, this is good to go. So now we do this 4 more times. I'm gonna show you exactly how we would do this. I'm gonna generate one more copy and one more example, and then load it up, and then show you a brief overview. So now we just do it again. Okay, so now we go back to the scripts. We go here. You don't need to do all this stuff. You just go back to the hook part because all that other stuff is defined as long as you're using the same chat. Copy, paste. Now we're just gonna pick the second angle. So we're gonna go with the postpartum shredders. Remove where it says angle. It's gonna create us 10 new hooks. Okay, we'll go through these hooks here. See, crystallizing fair, cool. So now we got to make sure that the hook speaks to these people. So the postpartum shredders, these are women 3 to 12 months postpartum, especially breastfeeding mothers who can't use chemical treatments. So keep this in mind when you're selecting your hook. I sent my mom a photo. I found here my baby's diaper during a 3 a.m. change and completely lost it. My husband Googled something that made him wake his dermatologist sister in California, and when she said next explained why just waiting it out was the worst advice. Okay, this has potential here. Let's see. My baby's features as okay when she found out my hair wrapped around my daughter's tiny fingers for the first time in a row. Okay. Sent my mom a photo. Oh, here we go. I sent my mom a photo of my shower drain at 4 months postpartum as a joke. She immediately called me and said, get in the car right now, and then drove me somewhere that changed how I understood postpartum hair loss forever. This has potential here. I like this. Cover instead of okay. Yeah, this one's good. I like it because it says postpartum in there, and hair as well is acknowledged in there. So now, what hook is this? This is hook 2. So now we'll just grab this again and just fill out the 3 blanks. So product name, I forgot what this is called. Electric scalp brush. The hook is hook number 2. And then the angle is like postpartum something something. Shedders, the postpartum shedders. Remove that for detailed angle. And then, dude, that's it. You do this 3 more times, go through the copy, make sure it's solid. And then now I'm going to show you guys how to launch this in your ad campaign. It's really, really simple. At this point, you should have all the images. Your product page should obviously already be built. And now that you have the copy, you're good to go. So let me show you guys how you can launch this once this finishes up. And then we'll be good to go. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Nice. All right, so what we can do here is let that finish generating. So what we can do is get ready to create our first campaign. So to create a campaign, all you're going to do is hit create, sales, continue. At this point, guys, you should have your pixel connected, and you should verify that your pixel is connected via Metal Pixel Helper. Your product page should already be built out. What else? You should obviously have your images. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So now we're going to go forward and start to create our first campaign. So for campaign name, I just name it whatever the product is. So for this example, we're doing a scalp brush. And then you can do the country as well that you're targeting. Catalog, advanced catalog, turn off. Daily budget, I always recommend you spend a minimum of $100 a day. You're going to get data faster and be able to move and test products a lot faster. If you do $50 a day, you're still going to need a certain amount of spend before making a decision. So you're just delaying the inevitable. So at this point, you might as well just do 50 or $100 a day. But if you're absolutely capped on a budget, then you can do 50, but don't do less than 50. If you can't do more than $50 a day, then, or less, if you're forced to do less than $50 a day, don't bother. All this stuff, leave it how it is. Leave it how it is. Okay, go to the ad set level. This is where you're going to name the angles. So this is going to be angle 1. You can name the angle 2. I recommend you do. So for the first angle that we did this with was Minoxidil Warriors. So just to keep things organized, connect your pixel. You should already have your pixel connected. And you might be prompted with a message that says, hey, you haven't gotten any purchases, right? Or your purchase event might show inactive because you're on a new pixel that has no purchases. It doesn't matter. You'll get this message. Ignore it. Literally exit out. That's fine. Optimize for what you want. If you optimize for ads cards and all this other stuff, then you're going to have a problem. By the way, I'm getting a glitch right now with this ad account. So this message here should not be prompt up for you, and you should not be getting these red circles. I'm getting this issue right now because my ad account is going through some problems. Ignore it. Okay. So next up, you're going to ignore all this other stuff here. And then you're going to go here to ad spending limit budget. And then you're going to hit this button here. And we want to make sure each ad set has a minimum dollar amount of $10 spend per day. This way, Facebook doesn't just force all this spend to one ad set, and then we can lose money that way. This gives it so that every ad set doesn't get too much spend, but enough for us to get data quickly. And once the ad set gets about $20 to $30 in spend, and it's been 2 or 3 days and it's not profitable, you can always just turn it off. If you're spending, let's say, $50 a day, set this number to $5. If you're spending $100 a day in total on the CBO, set this to 10. Always schedule ads for the next day at midnight. So make sure this says AM, 12 a.m. the next day, because we want Facebook to have the entire day to spend. Okay, pick one country. Do not pick multiple countries. Pick one country, US, United Kingdom, or Australia to start off. Don't pick a super small country like Germany or Switzerland or New Zealand yet. Start off with a major country, and then you can work your way to the other countries. You need to build proof of concept with the bigger countries first, then you can always test the other ones. Boom, 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 boom. This should be all good. And then what you're going to do here is there's one last thing. Hit this drop down here and then just remove threads. I only use a Facebook page to advertise, and Facebook will say, hey, you need an Instagram account connected to your ad account to run ads with threads. So I just uncheck threads. We don't make money on threads anyway. Everything else you just leave. And then now we go to this, and then we can just start naming the ads. Ad number 1, boom. And then for the page, all right, and so for the page, I always recommend when you're creating a Facebook page and you're getting ready to run ads, I always recommend that you create one of 2 types of pages. You can create a niche specific page like Hair Care Insider if you're creating ads for a hair care product. Or you can do something like Melissa Thompson, for example, or just a random person's name, and have the profile picture look and feel like a realistic person. Because again, the goal here is for these images and for these ads to look and feel like native Facebook feed posts. So we don't want to have Nike or Adidas or like your brand name as a name. We want it to look like a real life person made that post on Facebook. So I would recommend doing something like this. And like I mentioned, you should have realistic looking images that we can use for this right here, like on Higgsfield. So now what we'll do here is we're going to do the following. So make sure this is all connected like this. You're going to do a manual upload, single image. Always turn off multi-advertiser ads. You're going to grab your page. So just to use this one here, make sure you're always pasting the product page, not the home page, right? So you want people going straight to the product page, not the home page. So we're going to paste that in here. We're going to make sure optimized website destination is turned off as well. And now we're going to upload our images. So we're going to go image here. And then we're going to just go with these images. So you can upload between 3 to 10 images for this campaign per ad set. So just make sure they're the same 3 to 10 images. For this one, I'm just going to elect to go with 5. So I'm going to do this one here, this one here. This one's 3. This one's 4. And then we'll do 5. Okay. So then we'd go here to media, and then we could just upload these one by one. So we'll start off with this one here. Throw that in there. Give it a sec to load. That load. Hit next. Hit next. So you might be wondering, hey, Alex, should I crop this? Should I not? Just however Facebook recommends, you just go with that. For primary text, that's where we're going to grab our long form copy. So let's go to the first long form copy here, which is this one. We could scroll to the bottom of this and then just hit copy. And then we can paste that into the primary text and just double check that Claude didn't add any timestamps or any additional messages. Sometimes it can do that. It should just be the long form copy. Boom. And then we're going to use the same headline as we do for every single ad in every ad set. My headline recommendation is always the same. Read this if blank, right? So read this if you're balding, right? And then what you can do is just go to Emojipedia if you're on a HP or Windows computer, and you can just go pointing up. You can just go here, grab it, pointing up emoji, and then boom, right? So read this if you have a problem, or if you want to get even more specific. Women who are balding, read this, or read this if you're tired of balding, right? So we're gonna have just the headline be general enough, right? So obviously one angle is for menopause, one angle is for another thing. I forgot the other angles. So because there's 5 different angles and we're using 5 different ad sets, we're just gonna have this be the same exact like broad headline for every ad set. That way we don't have to worry about, oh, well, for this angle, should we use this? You can if you wanted to, right? Per ad set, if you wanted to have one ad set be read this if you have menopause, or in the next ad set, read this if you are postpartum. You can do that, but I want to isolate as many variables as possible. And by switching this, we don't know what worked. Was it the picture and the copy in the headline, or was it just a headline that caused more people to click on it? So personally, I like to just keep it all the same and make sure your call to action is shop now. You do not need to put anything in description. You don't need to split test any of this. Just leave it how it is here. Next, all this image generation stuff we want to turn off. Facebook will do this for you automatically. We just skip. And the same thing here. All these enhancements, turn off. Do not consider turning any of these on. Do not ask me, Alex, should I turn the music one on? No, none of them will ever be on. The goal is to disguise these as ads. So if we have any of these enhancements on, they start to look like ads. So we hit done here. Do not worry about campaign score. Don't worry about recommendations from Facebook saying, hey, if you add this and add a video to your campaign, it can increase it. Ignore this. Ignore campaign score. Ignore this as well. Advantage plus AI stuff. Turn that off if it's on. Ignore all that stuff. Carousels and formats and site links. Let me show you how to turn this off. So you can see here, site links is on. Hit edit. Turn all of this off. If it has your catalog, go here. Say no. Make sure your catalog is not connected. Hit save. So your promotion should be 0, your catalog should be off, your product should be off, your site link should be off, and then scroll down here, and then advanced plus creative enhancements, make sure all these are off. I'm going to show you how to double check and verify all this too at the end, but next up, we're going to duplicate and add the remaining 4 images. And again, the copy is going to be the same for the ad sets. For this ad set 1 will have the same copy for each image. But then when we duplicate this, we'll have the same image for ad set 2, but the copy will be different. So now we got to remove this image, add a new image. Okay. So we'll go back to Higgsfield's folder here, boom. So now we'll use the brush. Use the good old-fashioned brush here. Nice. Boom, 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 skip. You're gonna have to turn off these enhancements every single time. I'm gonna show you a way to verify that all these are off too, by the way, at the end. But that's it. And then you just do this again. Boom. And then delete, add another image. For the sake of this training, I'm just going to do these 3 images just to show you what it looks like. Again, when you're launching this, you can pick anywhere between 3 to 10 ads, image ads, right? 3 to 10. So if you want to do 3, sure. If you want to do 10, great. If you want to do 6, great. If you want to do 7, great. Just pick a number and stick to that number per ad set. If you're going to wonder, hey, Alex, if I launch more images, does it give me a greater chance of making more money and converting? Yeah, it can help you. It's not going to be the end all be all, but it definitely can give you more chances. But at the end of the day, if your copy sucks and your website sucks, it doesn't matter how many images you have. It's not going to convert for you. So just pick a number and you're good to go. All right. Now we'll double check. Site links, product links, all that stuff is off. Auto enhancement off. Make sure shop now and the captions are that. And then sometimes it also asks you to display like another image. Like if you want to show alternate images, that's always going to be off. So now what you want to do, you should be seeing a preview, but again, because my ad account's bugging out right now, it won't let me see that. So now what we're going to do is, now that we've added images, we're going to just go to the ad set level here, hit duplicate with original, and then duplicate. Yes, you can leave this check marked on, doesn't matter. And then now we're going to just simply go back into the long form copy we've created, which is not any of these. Hold on, one sec. Go back to long form copy we created here, which I pulled up over here. Nope. One sec. Is it here? Nope. So many tabs open. Nope. Alrighty. So you would go here, right? So now we have the first angle. Now we have to do the next long story. So this is for the postpartum. So this is the next story here. So now all we got to do, scroll down to the bottom here, copy. Okay. And all we got to do is just go into the primary text of each of these and then switch it out. Here's a quick way to do this though. You can just hit exit here. Go back, hit edit, select the next angle. So this is angle 2. We're going to rename this. And then we call this the postpartum, right? Post P. And what you can do here is you can hit shift to highlight these ads here. So hit shift on the first one and then hold shift on and click on the next one to select them all, hit exit. If you hit this drop down here and hit primary text, you can remove the primary text here and paste the new one in, and it's going to automatically apply it to all the ads. So for those of you that are launching 10 ads and you don't want to go in and copy and paste each primary text in, you can just do this, copy them all, highlight them all under angle 2, and then paste it here, and it's going to apply it for all that, and then you hit save draft. So now if we go back here, we can see that the primary text is the same for the new angle 2, and the images will also be the same. Okay. And then you just do that 3 more times, and then you hit publish, and you schedule it for the next day at midnight, or for the next day in the morning, and that's it. That's how you launch your, create your copy, launch your campaigns, and then go from there.